The first time I heard about Dangerous Men, I heard about it from Ethan. He was my freshman year roommate, and he said that he was hosting a Bible study at the time in our room, and just to kind of leave the room clear for the time being, as a lot of intimate stuff gets shared. But I asked him. I was kind of going through a tough time with my girlfriend at the time, and I said, "I can I please join? I'd love to do something like that. I really want to learn something. Just learn more about that." And he said, "Well, my group is full, but I have this group with, and it ended up being Hans and AJ, and I went through it with them, and that was very rewarding." The only thing I knew about the steps going in was that we were going through the second half of the book, and that's it. I had no idea. Every time I even thumbed through the pages, Hans and AJ were saying, "No, don't look at that. Don't look at that. We're saving that for the retreat." So I had absolutely zero idea what was going on going in, but it was super rewarding. Um, it was a very surreal experience for me. Again, like with sharing stuff that I'd never shared before. Um, Even some of the things that I kind of left out, talking in groups and testimonies and stuff like that, I shared there, and that was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever done, but it's also one of the most freeing. Now, every time I do it, I have no shame in whatever I'm sharing, especially in groups or even just talking to people about, um, you know, past things that I've done or just how I've been healed through this entire process. Um, and I've really learned a lot through it. And just that ability to share sins of my past, but know that I've broken free of those sins. So I knew I was called to lead groups the night that we finished the steps. We were all sitting around the campfire, just learning to smoke my first cigar, and Lowell said something about possibly leading groups next semester, and that's how DMU just kind of grows organically. Is that people who go through it find people that they want to do it with, and I immediately stood up and I was like, I need to do this. I did it in the second semester of my freshman year. So like the second semester that DMU was at GCU. But so over the summer, I kind of, Satan kind of had a hook in me that he had some doubt, and it just took a phone call from Daniel, who was in my group, and he said, "Hey, are you going to the DMU leadership training?" And immediately, I don't know what came over me, but I just said yes. And it was like the week before, and I hadn't even talked to my parents about it, anything like that. So I went home, talked to my mom and my dad, said, "Hey, I'm going to this. I'm gonna have to find a way to get time off of work." Um, Went to it, and I was like, "I need to do this. I'm committing to this." Talked to Jacob Frost, who was my first co-leader, and led it with him with some of my buddies through. I'm on the club pickleball team at GCU, and went through with a lot of buddies with them, and that was one of the most rewarding experiences. And just seeing them grow from the same thing. I saw a lot of myself in them, in not wanting to share their stories initially. It was really hard for them, but as soon as they did, it was super freeing for them. And I said, I just need to keep on doing this over and over again. And then especially going through steps the second time, where there was even more that I had to share, because there was just so much the first time, going through 18 years of stuff that I just never even processed in my mind. Um, Going through the rest of that, and then yeah, I couldn't be happier going through it. And I know that, yeah, I didn't lead a group this semester, but I'm going to keep on coming back, and I do plan on leading a group starting back next fall. And just seeing the guys' growth is just super incredible, and makes me really hopeful too that this is a repeatable process. It's not like it just worked for me and it's not working for anybody else. This is a very tried and true process of dealing with a lot of sins and fixing a lot of problems that we have in our lives. Hans and AJ, my two leaders, my first leaders, not enough good things can be said about them. They're amazing dudes, just full of the spirit. I learned a lot from them, and one of the biggest things that I learned, and I've been speaking about it, is just how to share, whether that be sharing sins and confessing them to others, sharing prayer and sharing even wealth, just buying some snacks for your guys, um, just sharing just a good time. Every time I went, I knew that I was going to be nervous with the stuff that I was sharing, but that the Holy Spirit was going to help me through that. And they were right there with me, and it's not like I was the only one who was sinning either. Everyone else was going through, you know, sin and just a lot of stuff that they were processing throughout their lives. And I really learned a lot from them in that there's no shame and there's no guilt in that. You can, go through terrible situations that you think that nobody else has ever gone through, and yet there's somebody who's in your group of 6 or 8, maybe even 2 or 3 guys that are like, I've been through the exact same situation. It really makes you hopeful for being able to make through it, and just learning from them, and just being in that community. The growth has been absolutely wild. I remember my first steps retreat, I think there was probably right around 20. If it was under that, it was just slightly under that, probably 18 to 20, 22. And now it's all the way up to, I think, around 60 or 70. Some of the attributes that really help to that growth is just the ability of previous leaders to really stick with it. I think having consistency really helps. Enough can't be said for Jacob and Mike starting DMU here, and then just sticking with the process instead of just leading one group and then just leaving and doing their own thing. They stuck with it, and I know that they saw a lot of growth in us, and that fueled them to just keep on doing what they were doing. And they've been here for this will be the 6th semester that they have it, and just a lot of that growth is very incredible to see. And I know that their commitment to it, and just seeing a lot of the personal growth in a lot of their guys that they've led, has been really helpful for that. One of the biggest things that I learned going through it, and just like one of the biggest takeaways that I hope, or that I definitely, one of the biggest takeaways that I took for myself, but also that I want other guys to experience, is just making your faith your own. Christianity isn't something for, the whole group to experience the same thing. It's an individual thing. It's not just a one size fits all. Making your faith your own was probably the biggest struggle that I had before DMU, but it's also the biggest thing that I learned, and has really grown me into the person that I am today. And trying to help people understand that that's the goal here, is to really make faith your own. It's not necessarily, stopping sexual sin. It's not necessarily, just learning a few more Bible verses. It's just making your faith your own and just following God in every aspect of your life. Yeah, I would say you're not alone. You are not the only one. You may think that, and I felt this with me not sharing about my experiences before DMU, is that I thought that I was the only one with, an addiction to porn, to masturbating. And yet I realized that it's everywhere. Pretty much everyone has seen it, and there's a lot of people who are addicted to it, and even just other sins that they have in their life that are affecting their walk with God, and their faith. Is that you are not alone, and that's one of the biggest things that I love about DMU, is that it's a community too. You make your faith your own. You're walking with other guys. You're learning from them all the time. And I think just knowing that you're not alone, there's somebody there to walk there with you. And it's not like the leaders are perfect either. I mean, we're not going to be preaching to you the whole time. I mean, we're struggling. We're in the trenches with you. It's not just, I'm going to tell you about this thing, and then you're just going to go home and, do whatever you're going to do, and it doesn't really matter. Like, no, you're fighting with a group of guys, and especially with your fighting partner, confessing to them, and just growing in your walk with God together, and that you're never alone in any part of the process, no matter what. And even if somebody in your group isn't experiencing what you're feeling, there is somebody close that one of the leaders, a quick phone call or a text message, and they can get you in contact with somebody who has seen or dealt with the exact problems that you're dealing with. And that, you're not alone in any of the issues that you're dealing with. One thing that's really cool to see is his siblings coming through, and I've never been able to experience that. Both my siblings are a lot older than I am. Just having conversations about God and Christianity was just never anything that I'd really talked to them about. So I didn't really have like a mentor. But I think having mentors that are a similar age to you, have gone through certain things that you've gone through, and understand struggles that you go through is super important. Yeah, I just love to see it, just keep on outgrowing dorms and apartments, and just to where we have to keep on splitting up groups more and more. Like, I know that happened a couple of times this year, and it was really cool to hear those stories of, oh, I talked to one of my buddies, and he brought a friend, and okay, well, now our group of 4 is now a group of 12, and we're having to split up. And then, oh yeah, well, I talked to 2 other guys in my class, and they were really interested. And now that 2 groups of 6 is now 4 groups of 6 or 7, and just that kind of organic growth where people obviously feel comfortable enough to talk to other people about it, but then that they're also bold enough to step into their faith and just commit to that walk with Christ. I think one of the most important things that really helps out GCU is that we are a Christian university, and that really helps because people know, like, oh, yeah, there's probably going to be something similar to this that's on campus. Oh, there might be some Bible study groups or stuff like that, but then there's some people that are really struggling with deep sin and deep ties that they really want to get disconnected from. And all it takes is just one person to reach out to them, whether it's one of us leaders or for them to just scan a QR code for free pizza, and just talking with one of us and just realizing that this is more than just stopping masturbating and stopping watching porn. And this is for you to just deepen your ties with God, and just learning more about Jesus and becoming just stronger and stronger Christians every single day. There is no other guys in the world that I'd rather have fighting alongside me, no matter what my struggles are. I know that I can come to them through anything, any struggle that I have, any hardship that I have in my life. I can share with them and get, first of all, words of encouragement, but especially prayer and wisdom, and find things in the Word that can really help my situation now, even though sometimes it may be super overwhelming for me at the time. Just learning from them and just kind of having them pour into me, or me pouring into others. It's just, the community it's amazing, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.